I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, my name is Michelle Alexander, and tonight I feel I need to discuss the Pledge of Allegiance. Last month, I sat in the bleachers of a rodeo in Ellsworth, Kansas. One of the first things they do in the rodeo is the Pledge of Allegiance. They dim the lights, they put a spotlight on a beautiful stallion horse with a young lady holding the American flag, and they ask everybody to stand up and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. While saying the Pledge of Allegiance, goosebumps generally run up and down my spine, and pride roars in my heart. I don't want to imagine the day where we don't say the Pledge of Allegiance at any sporting events and graduations and things that are important that you're used to saying them at. These words were put together by our ancestors to join together our nation. I personally believe eliminating any word, especially under God, would be slapping our ancestors in the face. Let me give you a brief history on the Pledge of Allegiance. In 1892, Francis Bellamy and James Upham created the first outline of the Pledge of Allegiance. And as I read right here, I pledge allegiance to my flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, in 1923, the first National Flag Conference was held in Washington, D.C. The agenda for this conference was to make the Pledge of Allegiance easier to understand for the new immigrants moving to the United States. They felt that my flag was a little confusing for immigrants. So in 1923, they came up with the new Pledge of Allegiance, which it says, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, in 1924, the committee chose to make it clearer when stating the Pledge of Allegiance and added of America. It now, in 1924, read, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, in 1954, President Eisenhower approved adding the words under God. He said, in this way, we are affirming transcendence of religious faith in American heritage and future. In this way, we shall constantly strengthen those spiritual weapons which will forever be our country's most powerful resource in peace and war. I decided to open the dictionary to find the meanings of the words in the Pledge of Allegiance. This inspired me, and I suggest everyone open a dictionary and define the words for themselves. I pledge. Pledge meaning you solemnly promise. Allegiance, meaning loyalty. To the flag, which is a symbol of our nation's strength. Of the United States, which represents 50 of our states. Of America, which is another word for our nation. And the republic, which is the supreme power that lays of the body of citizens entitled to vote, for which it stands, meaning you support and uphold. One nation, which is a culturally homogeneous group of people larger than a single tribe or community, which shares a common language, institution, religion, and or historical experience. Under God. Under God can be described in several different ways. I chose 3 definitions for God. One being the supreme being, the creator and ruler of the universe. Another one being one of several deities, especially a male deity presiding over worldly affairs. And the third being a supreme being, understood as life, truth, love, mind, soul, spirit, and principle. indivisible, which means it's not separable into parts. With liberty, meaning freedom from control, interference, obligation, restriction, power, or right of doing, thinking, and speaking. And justice. Justice meaning you have a claim or an entitlement. For all, meaning the greatest possibility to everyone with no exception. Now, who will it harm if our children don't learn the whole Pledge of Allegiance? June 26, 2006, Barack Obama in his keynote address said, "A sense of proportion should also guide those who police the boundaries between church and state. Not every mention of God in public is a breach to the wall of separation. Context matters. It is doubtful that children reciting the Pledge of Allegiance feel oppressed or brainwashed as a consequence of muttering the phrase, 'under God.' I feel the Pledge of Allegiance was made to help grow patriotism in the United States. It praises our ancestors for all their failures and triumphs. To learn the Pledge of Allegiance is paying tribute to our heritage and show pride in our country." How can we preserve the Pledge of Allegiance? First off, we need to teach our children the Pledge of Allegiance. We need to show them that we're not embarrassed to say the Pledge of Allegiance out in public. Don't be embarrassed to stand there next to your child, placing your hand over your heart and saying it with pride, knowing what those words mean. The second is being aware of your local school's rules on saying the Pledge of Allegiance. If possible, enroll your children in schools that help parents affirm what it means to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and helping us teach our children how to respect and have pride in our ancestors and our country. Now, Kansas law states that schools are required to teach children how to say the Pledge of Allegiance. But students do have the option on whether they recite it. They just have to know it. They don't have to say "under God" if they choose not to. Some states, though, have made it to where it's not a requirement for children to learn the Pledge of Allegiance and have actually taken it out of schools. These states are Alabama, Kentucky, Louisiana, North Carolina, Ohio, Oklahoma, and North Dakota, and South Dakota. In conclusion, the first thing I remember in learning in school was the Pledge of Allegiance. I am personally very passionate about my children knowing how to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I have the greatest desire that they also will teach their children how to say it and know the meanings of it. Only we, the American people, can preserve our heritage. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.